Me is Queen of Heru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So, one of our subscribers brought to my attention something I thought was pretty interesting. Now, most of you probably already know that Western astrology has a lot of origins in the Greek mythology. So, how Aquarius became Aquarius and how, the other signs became what they are, there's mythologies to them. So, this subscriber sent me what is called the story of Ganymede. The story of Ganymede is the mythology about how Aquarius became Aquarius. So I read a couple versions of the stories and watched a couple of videos. There's several versions of the story, but basically it comes from Greek mythology. It's just as sick as the rest of the Greek mythology, to be honest with you. The Greeks had a thing for older men and young boys. And anybody who knows me knows that I am grossed out by the concept of any child being taken advantage of, period. Because Ganymede was like 12 and Zeus was like an old man. So it's like, what the hell? So it's a very unusual story, but it was very usual for the Greeks. The Greeks did not have a problem with a lot of things that modern society, those of us who are in our right mind, think are gross. So this was one of them. They had a tendency to have these, relationships, situationships, rape, I guess you really should call it, of these children by these old ass men. And unfortunately for Aquarius, our origins are in one of these stories. But this story does tell a lot about the characteristics of Aquarius. So let me explain it. First of all, Zeus was always doing something in Greek mythology that he had no business. He was married to a goddess named Hera. Hera was very angry and temperamental, mostly because of the fact that Zeus always cheated on her. He always had other mortal women, other god women, other guys. Zeus was bisexual, so he would have sex basically with anybody and everybody. Hera would get mad, they would fight, they'd break up, they get back together. It was like, a modern day a modern day dysfunctional relationship, basically. So Zeus would always cheat on the poor child, and she always knew. And then they would get into these fights, and she never really could do anything to Zeus, but she could torture his lovers and their families, which is basically what she did in most cases. So this was no different. Ganymede was said to be the son of the king of Troy, and he was said to be beautiful. Beautiful golden locks, just a beautiful, hypnotic young man, And he used to be amongst the shepherds and playing with his friends. And Zeus started to, just admire the boy from heaven or Mount Olympus. That's where he was at. He would admire him from Mount Olympus, and he kept watching him. And one day gets the bright idea to abduct this child, okay? And this was very in Greek, mythology. This kind of thing, continues to happen in other stories as well. So he abducts this child. He takes the form of an eagle and snatches the boy, and takes the boy to Mount Olympus and makes him the cup bearer of the gods. So Ganymede, they don't really tell you what Ganymede thinks about this, if he's upset about it, if he cares. All you know is that he's abducted, and then Zeus makes him his lover. Or Zeus starts raping him, is basically what I should say. And again, they never tell you. I always thought it was strange that in none of the stories do they give you Ganymede's point of view. I was always interested to hear what he had to say, but I couldn't find that in any of the stories. So anyway, the poor child is up there being the cupbearer, which is a very prestigious job. His family is mourning because they have no idea what happened to him. All they know is that an eagle took their son. They think he's dead, or worse. And Zeus sends his family two majestic divine horses. apparently the horses that actually, the gods used. And the family decides that, and he tells them that he's taking their son and he's a cupbearer. He's in this prestigious, position. His family basically can't do anything about it. So that's that. In the meantime, he's, spending time with this boy. His wife, Hera, is jealous and angry and vengeful, as she often is, and is understandable. And she decides basically to get back at Ganymede by killing his entire group of people, like the Trojans. Like, his father was the king of Troy. And so basically she set the stage that Troy would be massacred and burned to the ground. Which also happens in another number of other, poems and plays during that time period. So his family is dead and gone, and Hera is still vengeful, and Zeus decides to hide him. He decides that he's not going to be able to keep Ganymede as the cupbearer, and he's going to have to hide him. So he hides him in the stars, and Ganymede becomes the constellation of Aquarius. So that is how we get this. That's how Aquarius becomes Aquarius, So I was looking at it like, but let's talk about the parts of it that pointed out some really important things. Number one, Ganymede, just like Aquarius, is beautiful and hypnotic and invokes a lot of lust. A lot of Aquarius have those characteristics. A lot of Aquarius I know are very attractive. Even the ones that aren't very attractive are often very hypnotic because they have like this mysterious, aloof kind of air to them. And we often invoke lust. We often have people lusting after us, coming at us. If I had $1 for every person that tried to sleep with me, I'd have like $20 trillion. Like, I would have like, oh my God, I'd be a rich woman. And so, that's something obviously that goes all the way back to Greek mythology. Aquarius have a tendency to be beautiful, hypnotic, or invoke a great deal of lust from others. Also, some of those others have a tendency to be older men, or I guess older women, but older people. Older people have always come on to me. Ever since I was young, ever since I was 12, 13, it was older people coming on to me. Most of my dates, my lovers, were almost all older than me. By a lot. 7 years, 5 years, 2 years. One guy that I was seeing when I was really young, I think he was like 30 years older than me. I was dating him for a little while. So like some of us have a tendency to have older lovers. And not so much younger though. So a lot of times older. The cupbearer. Ganymede is the cupbearer, and the cupbearer translates to the water bearer. So that is us, he or she who brings the water. You see a strong indication, not even an indication, you see out and out homosexuality in this story. And Aquarius have a tendency to be gay, bi, or lesbian. Of course, not all of us, but it's a very, very common theme amongst Aquarius. I'm actually going to do a video and talk more about it because I found it to be very prevalent. So we'll talk about that in another video. Distance with family. A lot of Aquarius have problems with one or both parents or their family. So we see here Ganymede was taken from his family, and then his family just drops it when Zeus gives him 2 horses and says, yo, he has a prestigious job. Get past it. If you kidnapped my 12-year-old and sent me 2 horses and told me, oh, they have a prestigious job, I will be on CNN by the end of the evening because I tried to kill you. And mind you, this is Zeus, and you can't kill God. In Greek mythology, this is God. But I would have tried to warm Zeus up, straight up. Me and Zeus would have been boxing if that had been my 12-year-old. So you see this distance with the family, and you can even, and in some ways, say a betrayal of the family. Who doesn't go after their 12-year-old? So it is what it is. A lot of Aquarius have that kind of thing going on in real life. And then you're made into a constellation. And in tarot, Aquarius is represented by the star card. So also we have that tie-in from Greek mythology. So Aquarius is considered to be the star, and the star is all of the things embodied in this kind of blessings and peaceful energy, and all of the energy, the humanitarian energy of Aquarius. So I thought this weird, odd, unusual story was interesting because of, it shows all the not all of them, but many of the characteristics of Aquarius. Like I said before, you notice the cup bearer, the water bearer. So that's the emotions, being compartmentalized. Maybe that's what Ganymede did with his emotions when he got abducted and raped by this old man, was compartmentalize them. And now that I think about it, that's probably what he did. Maybe that's why we don't hear anything about how Ganymede felt. I mean, did he try to fight Zeus? Did he, just, resign himself to his fate? Was he too young to understand? Like, I would love to know that part of the story. But anyway, so this odd story is just as odd as Aquarius. We're odd and eccentric. So the story about our evolution into a constellation would have to be odd and unusual too. So this is the story of Ganymede. If you want to listen to it for yourself, you can also Google it. I read it 2 or 3 times and I saw videos about it. It changes bit by bit. Sometimes he's a shepherd. Sometimes he's playing with his friends. Sometimes he puts a special kiss on Zeus's cup every time he brings him the cup. So in those cases, they're saying that, he enjoyed being with Zeus. Whereas I would call it rape. And even if he did enjoy it, he was still 12. So I'm still looking side-eyed at Zeus. But Zeus does all kinds of horrible things in Greek mythology. It's really interesting to me that he was seen as, the All-Father when he did horrible things. But when you look at mythology, a lot of the guys did some things that they shouldn't have did. So I guess that's just the luck of the draw. So, unfortunately, this is the story of Ganymede and how Aquarius becomes Aquarius. So, I found that to be very interesting, especially the tie-ins that I saw in my own life. All right. Well, guys, it's time for us to get going. So, if you like this video and you think it's as strange as I do, please give me a thumbs up. If you know somebody who would like to hear this weird story about how Aquarius became Aquarius, please pass this video on to them. If you would like to talk with me, personal, live, on Skype or on Facebook, and get a tarot or oracle card reading, please email me to make an appointment. If you would like to leave a love donation, I will leave my PayPal, and thank you all for the donations. Every penny is very much, very much appreciated. Likewise, I will leave my social media in case some of you are on Instagram or Facebook and may want to chat. Okay, guys, I will see you later. Bye-bye.